With all of the news surrounding Bernie Sanders, and I did support him, I voted for him in Ohio, and I stand by that vote, and I don't regret it. I figure it is time for an update, especially in light of all the news that has dropped in the past couple weeks. I didn't want to stay silent, at least on this channel. I wanted to be vocal about this, because this is a very important year, and I feel like, hey, I may have -2 subscribers, but in the ethos of the internet, we talk, and who knows what happens. You know, I send a tweet out, and I get 1 or 2 people to actually read it. I mean, fuck it, I figure I gotta let my thoughts out there. And at least my friends may watch this video and at least they'll know my perspective on this, because I've got some shit to say. So I want to speak on, at first, let's go with the Bernie endorsement of Hillary. Now, when I first heard about that news, I was heartbroken like a lot of people, and then I heard the case made on, you know, why it's not that bad, and Jimmy Dore likes to say that he hasn't done anything negative, he's just, and I kind of see it as he's doing what he had to in order to keep what he's done continuing on. And I also think about it as he had Cornell fucking West on the platform committee. So you know he fucking fought his ass off on all the bullshit that they pushed through still. So, I mean, that's hindsight knowing, you know, it's nice to know that, you know, that badass motherfucker did not take their shit laying down. So that makes me feel a little bit better. At least I know that he put on some real badasses on that fucking committee. So that makes me happy there. And I also want to talk about the leaks, the email leaks by WikiLeaks. Now, I haven't done much research into it, and I want to, because I know there's got to be some funny, goofy shit in there, because there's no way these guys... The one guy said fucking peeps, I could have swore they were saying, so... No, who the fuck talks like that? Oh, I also want to talk about how Bernie Sanders, in as far as the smear campaign they tried to do about the atheist thing in, what was it, West Virginia and Kentucky. Also want to say that as the quote-unquote Liberal Party still being called an atheist is a bad sight, even from the people inside in the party. I also want to say that even Bernie hasn't been full supporter of atheists. I was at one of his speeches in my city, and when he went down religions, he was like, Jewish, Christians, Muslims, they're all equal, and didn't mention atheists. And I felt a little type of way about that, and I should have said something. I should have yelled out, atheist too! But I didn't, and because I was a pussy. And so I regret that. Ever since that speech, I really have. I've always regretted not yelling that. And so it's always something that stuck with me. And the fact that, and then they said when Bernie came out and talked about that atheist smear thing, that he didn't even, like, he was like, I'm not an atheist. Like the way he even defended the attacks from that smear from that email, like he still made it seem like being atheist is a little bad thing, and I just don't appreciate that. So I do find that a little upsetting, and especially from the sold-out Democratic Party. This is just further, like, just, they don't give the slightest fuck. I mean, I really don't fucking like this party at all, man. They're fucking assholes. I'm so glad I don't have to be one of their slaves in order to be able to vote in their system. So I'll stay independent. I'll keep it this way. So fuck them. Fuck Democratic Party. You know, so I'm just completely, after the email leak, man, they're embarrassing trash. So I'm glad Debbie Wasserman Schultz stepped down, but apparently she's like barely she's just moving to the side. So it doesn't really mean shit. So moving on, I have also, we need to talk about the chances of Jill Stein winning and how people are throwing it out the window, especially if people would say that, oh, if Bernie supported her or ran on the Green Party ticket, that he wouldn't win. And I say this is complete and utter bullshit because, now remember, there was Bernie running against Hillary, where he was polling really low and nobody knew who he was, and then he fought all the way up to like 40-something%. So there's like, you know, almost 40% people from that voted in the Democratic Party for the nominee that will go vote for him. A huge, like, they voted once, they'll probably vote twice. Not to mention, keep in mind that independent voters couldn't vote in some states such as like New York. So that's a much more bigger number that will vote for him in other states in general. And that's also people that will poll, that will vote, that'll say in a poll that they'll vote for him. Now that's also important because you got to poll above 15% to partake in the debates. Well, guess what? A lot of people may not live in swing states that showed support, but guess what? A lot of people that are in blue states will show support, and guess what? Their opinion counts as far as polls. Guess what? Those polls will now boost him up into being in the debate. Very big key. Also keep in mind that not all the Republicans like Donald Trump, so there's also some crossover there. And keep in mind that there's still independents in general that maybe didn't vote in the nomination of the each party candidate, because maybe they just didn't feel like it, because they were like, Donald Trump's a fucking idiot, and they just were like, I'll stay out the way of the Democratic beef. I don't fucking know. I'm just saying there's plenty of people that didn't vote in the primaries, and so there's definitely a point there. Also, there's the percentage of people that want a third party candidate to run was really fucking high. Now that we have third party candidates running, now there's a little less talk. That's bullshit too. Keep an eye on that statistic. Like, that was just bullshit. Also, Gary Johnson's polling really high right now, and I'm rooting for him to get in the debate, at least to spark some shit. However, I'm still rooting for Jill Stein, and that's where it leads me to my final point where I am endorsing Jill Stein. You know, Gangster and Seven massive fucking YouTube base. I'm supporting Jill fucking Stein. Like to thank Immortal Technique for, showing me the Green Party and Jill Stein throughout the years that I've been listening to him. And so it's come full circle. Now I'm finally endorsing Jill Stein as my candidate. So that's fucking awesome. Just any reason why you'd vote for Bernie is why you'd vote for her. She's a fucking absolute badass. As Jimmy Dore would say, she's a little left of even him. But, it doesn't matter, because, when you're the president, you got to fight and you got to make some compromise. She'll make compromise towards more of a Bernie-style liberal. So, it doesn't even matter as far as policy. She's just a fucking badass. She's a real fucking liberal. And she's a real person, too. I watched her do that interview on the Young Turks with Jimmy Dore, and she, half the time she sounded like a fucking hippie to me. And then this shit was silly. I was like, yo, that's a real person. So even that's good for her. And I've seen her in an interview on the Turks it was like a 60-minute interview. And I hear fucking, Mortal Technique always talking about her, so I trust her as far as that. And she's just an absolute badass. And, there's someone will probably put a better video about, her positives and strengths and shit like that. And so you can watch that. But this has been Gangster 7 lending my opinion. Let me know in the comment section if there's anything else you want me to talk about. But this has been Gangster 7, like a political update. So I will be planning on doing more as more news comes out that I feel like I have to talk about, and I have to put my voice and opinion on record. But thanks for watching. Make it jizz. Hashtag Jill not Hill. Hashtag Bernie or make it jizz for Jill.